I told you earlier this week that Marjorie Taylor Greene is already ramping up her lies in case Donald Trump loses about what's taking place in the state of Georgia. And instead of being... It's one thing to be dishonest. It's a whole nother thing to be this lazy with the dishonesty. And so there's no creativity coming from Marjorie. She just looked back at what they said in 2020 and went, let's do that again. Dominion is flipping votes. And as many have pointed out, this could put her in legal jeopardy, as we saw with Fox News and others, Rudy Giuliani, etc. I'll remind you of this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene, but now we have a response from a Georgia election official, a very sharp response to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'll get to that in just a second. But as a reminder, quickly, here's some of the clip we talked about already. Please do remember to click the subscribe button if you haven't yet. Thank you so much to all the people who have pushed us past 900,000 subscribers. Now we have that final push to 1 million. So if you haven't subscribed, please do it. Here's Marjorie.
In my district, and so Whitfield County, someone posted up that when they went to vote in Whitfield County here in Georgia's 14th district, now remember, we're a swing state and we need everyone to vote in my district. And so they went to vote, and we have the Dominion machines. And you go through and you mark president, you mark, for Congress, that would be me. They marked Donald Trump, and they marked who they were voting for the rest of the way down their ballot on the machine. Then when they're finished, the machine prints their ballot, a paper copy, a printed copy, and each voter has to review that printed copy to make sure that it has selected the candidates that they want to vote for. And so when this voter printed their ballot and they looked, it had changed.
And we discussed this already, laying out the reasons that what she's saying is absolutely absurd. But instead of me doing it again, here is Gabriel Sterling addressing Marjorie Taylor Greene, sort of indirectly, but it's very clear who he's talking about.
It has been an individual who said, this isn't who I meant to vote for. And they go to the poll manager and they say, okay, come back, we will spoil this ballot, and you can vote again. And they're able to do it. There is zero evidence of a machine flipping an individual's vote. Are there elderly people whose hands shake and they probably hit the wrong button slightly and they didn't review their ballot properly before they printed it? That's the main situation we have seen. There is literally zero. And I'm saying this to certain Congress people in the state, zero evidence of machines flipping votes. And that claim was a lie to 2020, and it's a lie now.
Very well said. I voted now just a couple days ago, and when I was going through that process, I had a similar feeling. Was that yesterday, Jaden, or was that 2 days ago? Now I'm blanking. That's so weird. But it's very possible, especially with millions of people voting, that as I was looking at how close together the names are, if you were to go, oh, I know who I'm voting for, all right, Kamala Harris, and your eyes start moving to the next one because you're about to just get ready to click the next one, and you click Trump on accident, and then you print it out and you didn't check it, and you look and you go, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, then there's a process for you to go and submit another ballot after eliminating that one. But it's very possible. He cites an example of someone with a shaky hand. For instances like that to take place that can easily be addressed, no problem, no fraud, to be turned into justification for lies about the efficacy of our democratic process is shameful. And it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. You probably already saw this. We talked about Tucker Carlson's speech in Georgia, but one of the things he's also preparing his followers for is denying the election results.
That's the point at which you say, no, I'm sorry. I put up with this crap for a long time. I indulge your little fantasy. It's like when your teenage girl becomes a vegetarian and you're like, okay, that's, okay, that's fine. No, I totally understand. You're like, it's a phase. But if that phase goes on for 9 years and includes destroying your major cities and allowing your country to be invaded by millions of foreigners whose identities you don't know and whose purpose in this country is unclear, by the way, why shouldn't we feel threatened by that? If they go out of their way to crush families, to make it impossible for your kids to buy a house, and getting involved in the sex lives of your children, which they are,
I feel like every time one of these MAGA people goes, which is true, or which they are, you know that they're lying.
If they do all of that, they need to lose. And at the end of all of it, when they tell you they've won, no. You can look them straight in the face and say, I'm sorry, Dad's home, and he's pissed.
Yeah, I don't know what the Tucker dad complex is, but he's really fixated on daddy coming home and stuff. So we'll just leave that there. But he's saying when they look you in the eyes and say that they won, we're going to say no. Dad's home and he's pissed. Which means we're going to say no, we assert Trump to have won even if he didn't. Now the crazy thing is I talked about on yesterday's bonus show. Get the bonus show. We have a great time. I ranted for like 10 minutes yesterday about the subject I'm about to mention, but Maria Bartiromo started getting sort of afraid, saying, wait, Kamala Harris has to oversee the certification of whoever wins this election. What if she refuses to certify Trump's win? Not seeming to understand, Kamala Harris, first of all, would never do that because she respects our democracy. Democrats would never advocate for her to do that because we respect democracy. But if we followed your logic, that would be what Kamala Harris could do. She could refuse to certify Trump's victory if we applied your anti-democratic principles to this election, because that's what you said Pence had the power to do. And what's stunning, even though of course I'd rather be on this side of the equation, is knowing that if Trump loses, you're going to have an entire movement insisting that he won. If Kamala Harris loses, you're going to have, for the most part, a side accepting the results. As dangerous as we perceive Trump to be. And that imbalance is so harmful to our political discourse. And the fact that Republicans out there don't see that imbalance, don't care about that imbalance, is disturbing to me. Because we're talking about Gabriel Sterling and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll remind you of Marjorie ranting in his face at this hearing over the 2020 election lies.
There's thousands of dead voters in Georgia. And then the other thing is, you have constantly shilled for this election, and I'm going to tell you, there was blatant outright fraud in the 2020 election. Complete and total fraud, you know it. You absolutely do know it. And I'm going to follow up with one more thing. Trump won Georgia. I know you don't like for me to say that, but I am convinced that he did. I'm born and raised in Georgia, lived there all my life, campaigned all over the state in the 2020 election. And to come in here for the Election Integrity Caucus and for you to be on the panel, it's actually insulting to election integrity, because I think you did a horrific job for the state of Georgia. And I can't believe that our tax dollars have to pay you to run our election system. You were formerly a Georgia state employee, and then you got to be a contractor during the election. Well, I think that was that. I don't know why that happened and no one else got picked, but somehow we ended up with you. But there were massive problems in the recount in Floyd County. They recovered.
Yet another reason this election is so important is because that, really contemplate this, that Trump's election lies, January 6th, the fake elector scheme, calling for the termination of the Constitution, MAGA never accepting the results to this day, House Republicans pushing for political purpose a phony investigation into Biden the entire time Biden's been president, refusing to engage on almost any solutions, including on the border. All of that will be affirmed if Trump wins. The lesson that will be learned is that obstructionism, election denialism, and an opposition to democratic principles works for this movement. And seeing how many people are out there choosing vibes, I don't know, I just feel like Trump's vibes what I want to associate with. Or choosing a misunderstanding of economic policy over those principles, and potentially enough people choosing to affirm this behavior that's so deteriorating from MAGA with the electoral result, of course, rocks my belief in America as much love as I have for it. It rattles me to my core. So hopefully I'll be uplifted come November 5th. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show, like I said earlier. You can get the bonus show by clicking the join button below.